So this is part three, penetrating wisdom, from the aspirational yogic song of Samantabhadra, also known as Kuntazampo. Hello to everybody on YouTube. I'll try to get through this as my cat's harassing me. Pretty, pretty heavily. Thank you also for all the great practitioners joining today in the group. Uh, your diligence and presence is appreciated. So, yeah, part three, the fundamental ground. Ho! All that appears and exists, all of samsara and nirvana, has one ground, two paths, and two results. It is the display of awareness and ignorance. Through the aspiration of Samantabhadra, may all be fully awakened in the citadel of the Dharmadhatu. The ground of all is uncomposed, an inexpressible self-arisen expanse, without the names samsara and nirvana. If it is known, Buddhahood is attained. Not knowing it, beings wander in samsara. May all beings of the three realms know the inexpressible ground. So first we're going to go into basic purity. We begin with the aspiration of the basic purity of samsara and nirvana. It is the aspiration to realize the basic state of samsara and nirvana as being in one genuine nature. It begins with Ho. Ho is an expression of non-dual speech. In Tibetan, we call it Jo Tume Pe Jo Pa, which means speechless speech. Ho is also an expression of surprise, an expression of non-dual joy. It comes from the same root as Emaho. You may have heard Emaho or a hole before in the Vajrayana literature. Excuse me. They all express the basic sense of the wonderfulness of certain experiences, such as when you experience joy or when you experience naked rigpa within your fundamental hatred. It expresses the fundamental delight that sometimes comes with a particularly shocking experience. These words are said by yogis to express this sense of appreciating that particular wonder. The fundamental experience of joy or delight does not necessarily manifest with a smooth experience of the path. It could also manifest with the experience of your hatred, jealousy, passion, aggression, or pride for that matter. Ho expresses the basic state of satisfaction, which is another leap beyond the dissatisfaction that is our fundamental state of samsara. After Ho comes the first discussion of the ground. All that appears and exists, all of samsara and nirvana, has one ground, two paths, and two results. Whoa. Picking up my phone here. Sorry, must have muted when I dropped the phone. Sorry about that. Okay, well, uh, since you were recording that whole time, people can read that. I'll start at exists. Exist refers to the contained beings in the various realms, such as the human realm, animal realm, and so forth. As with our group karma, beings in each of the different realms experience a common world. For example, the sentient beings that live in water have a common experience of the realm of water, whether they live in oceans, lakes, or rivers. The sentient beings that primarily manifest in the sky have their common experience of living in the sky. That fundamental or basic experience is what we call all that appears and exists. The container and contained include all of samsara and nirvana, all experiences of samsara and all experiences of nirvana. Samsara is not recognizing our basic nature, it's also a perfume from France. Basically, samsara is experiencing phenomenon through ego clinging. When you experience anything through ego clinging, there's the experience of samsara. Samsara is nothing more than that. Nirvana is the absence of suffering and pain. Nirvana is also a rock band. Nirvana is the experience of the basic nature of mind, which has the quality of freedom and spaciousness as well as the experience of basic goodness that is the nature of mind. It is the experience of egolessness, which is seeing things as they are. Samantabhadra says that all of samsara and nirvana, meaning all confusions and all wisdoms, have one origin. They have one common ground from which everything arises. This common ground is also known as the basis. In Dzogchen, the basis performs the function of generating these two expressions called samsara and nirvana. Both are generated and both appear from the same common ground. Another way to understand this one ground is that there is one origin for both Sutrayana and Vajrayana. Again, that's why it is called one basis. The fundamental basis of the ground for both Sutra as well as Tantra is the basic shunyata, the primordial emptiness. According to the Dzogchen and Mahamudra traditions, that ground is the alaya nature of our mind. So, one ground here refers to all experiences manifesting from the same fundamental state. That primordial alaya is inseparable from the Mahayana understanding of shunyata. It is inseparable from the Mahamudra view of ordinary mind. The one fundamental ground is seen in two different ways. It manifests as the all basis consciousness, alaya vijnan, or the all basis wisdom, alaya jhana. In the study of Buddha nature, there is a lot of discussion about alaya vijnan and alaya jhana. We relate to the one we relate to the one basic nature with two different approaches. With one approach, it becomes vijnan, consciousness. With the other approach, it becomes jhana, wisdom. From the Dzogchen point of view, it is one basic mind stream. When you look at this mind, which possesses 8 different consciousnesses from the Mahayana point of view, or 6 different consciousnesses from the Hinayana point of view, it's one continuity that manifests as a samsaric consciousness. Alternatively, the same 8 bases manifest as 5 different wisdoms. Therefore, it is one ground. If you recognize it, it is wisdom. If you fail to recognize it, it is consciousness. It is that simple from this point of view. Therefore, the prayer says, all of samsara and nirvana has one ground, 2 paths, and 2 results. Okay, so any comments, questions so far? I think we're gonna we could take a break there. Oy. I also wanted to get into this Trangu Rinpoche text with you all, which is a little bit more pithy. We might not do that today. Yeah. So is everybody understanding the one ground, two paths? Pretty straightforward. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know how I feel yet about this text, but it gives a lot of information. Okay. Oh yeah, my pleasure. I'm a little wore out right now, so please excuse me. My um dogs have been giving me a run for the money today. But yeah, thank you all for hanging out too. Being wore out is a good sign, I guess, that I lived the day. Yeah, so I hope your meditations are going well. And please don't have any expectations about um, us reviewing those qualities that we talked about in the last session because that's just going to be something that I do whenever it flows. It's nothing regimented, but I will be sort of slowly hoping that everybody here accesses things like they understand what basic space is, they're actually accessing that, they understand lucidity, they're able to work with it or at least access it, right? And then as well as these other qualities like the four samayas, openness, you understand what ineffability is. Uh, Presence is another one that we can all talk about and make sure we got it. Timelessness. So these are all indicators. It's basically like if you and I were looking for some I don't know, a certain type of tree, but you were in Africa and I was in Alaska, and we're on the phone to each other and we're describing, okay, this tree looks like this, it's got this kind of bark, it's taller tree, it has these kind of leaves, everything. That's what we're doing, except we're doing that with the enlightened mind. We're talking to each other about what the enlightened mind looks like, what the awakened mind looks like. And that reminding will bring it forth much faster as well, especially if you trust. Now, Dzogchen is called the Great Perfection. That means that everything's perfect right now and everything's complete right now. You will actively start to see yourself sabotage that. And that's what's great. You witness the truth of the mind, the great secret. They have, endless videos about ancient aliens and ancient knowledge and all this stuff. Well, this is the ancient knowledge. There's nothing more secret, more coveted, more special, more powerful than this, really. So if you're not getting it from me, eh, there are many options out there, surprisingly, where you can get it. I would always stick with the nine yanas as my way to contextualize. And then also, like I was alluding to, this is called the great perfection. So that means that we're embracing that great perfection as our path. That's our ground, path, and fruition. And so, what is the great perfection? It's that you begin to experience that. You see it, you realize that, and experience that completion. And there's a sense of having arrived. Yeah. And a great happiness comes with that, like, oh, I've accomplished everything. Uh, you can actually have that satisfaction and then still go accomplish things. You see, more with more with the paradoxes. So please understand that this is what we're sort of we're doing, familiarizing with the awakened mind. Okay, any other famous last words? So be asking, when you say don't get yourself involved in thoughts during meditation, let it be. How do I know that I'm engaging in thoughts, or is it mind? This phone is cracked up. Is it mind presenting thoughts or voices like questions, answers, stories? Well, there should be a clear distinction between your awareness and thoughts. So let's all do this together. You want to sit together? Be you okay with that? Okay, let's sit here and be aware of our breath. I'm just gonna walk you through. Don't think about any of this stuff. Don't analyze it. Okay, just follow me. So let's be aware of the breath. Now be aware of sounds. Now be aware of your feelings. Now be aware of awareness. Now think of any color flowers you want. All types of different color flowers. Red ones, blue ones, white ones. Now be aware of your thoughts. Were you aware of your thoughts? Eh? You weren't aware that you were just thinking of flowers? Oh, which one is it? Okay, we have to. Uh, if you're not, don't feel forced to say anything or answer anything dishonestly here. But weren't you aware of, like, if I sit here right now and I say, uh, be aware of your breath, how is that different than being aware of your thoughts? So if we sit here and we think of different red vehicles, it could be anything, tractors, trucks. Let's just do that for 30 seconds. Airplanes in there, bikes, whatever you want. Isn't there awareness here as you're thinking about that? And you know why your awareness is not so powerful is because you're used to being in thoughts. But now it looks like perhaps it's time for you to break out of that. Inside a context? What is a context? That doesn't sound like something experiential. It sounds like something conceptual. Inside a context. There was a mysterious context there of unknown origin. Okay, I can dig it. But regardless of anything that's happening here, there's an awareness of the thoughts. So we're so heavy in our thoughts that we don't see this cognizant field that's holding our thoughts. And you're not trying to be aware of your thoughts. You don't have to try to be aware. Awareness is just like space in that it's always here. That's how you remember dreams. That's how you can be aware of every object in this room without trying, including your body, including your heart beating, including the intelligence that's beating your heart. Awareness is the very basis. Even if you don't need if you don't need to believe in anything here, just believe this much that awareness is what all these great yogis are talking about. And 12 hours ago, we are talking about how people are too intelligent. Many are too intelligent, too distracted. They can't see it. It's too simple. Now we have Gampopa on record saying it. So Dudjom Rinpoche, Longchenpa, many, Toku Organ Rinpoche, many people saying it's so simple that the intelligent have a hard time with it. So they actually say that's just Dudjom saying many intelligent people won't get it because it's so simple. That doesn't mean that anybody who's intelligent is cut off from it. But just know that if you're intelligent, then be intelligent and know that that's a hindrance. But B, I want to know. I want to get back to where we're at because see the thoughts cloud out your awareness, so it doesn't seem. For me, I've been doing it for a little bit longer, maybe. So for me, it's very obvious when thoughts pop up, especially obvious when I'm stuck on thoughts because then there's this feeling of grasping, which also, by the way, we're starting to learn what that looks like. We do little meditations to learn what grasping and fixation and clinging, whatever you want to call it, what that actually feels like in our experience. So it's very difficult. You got to leave awareness alone. Once you see this awareness, you got to leave it alone. And that way it can really lead you fully in. It's, whoa. Uh, okay. Yeah. So B, we getting anywhere? You should be able to notice when you're sitting here in effortless abiding when you're ruminating, when you're lost in that thought. You should be able to see it, and you can use the breath to just come back to presence, come back to this presence awareness. And I don't say present awareness. Presence is awareness. It's sort of part of it. So yeah, hopefully it helped. If not, we can continue to explore. So Suraj's saying, by the way, Dawei, when you ask what's the difference between awareness of breath and awareness of thoughts, for B, those two are not different. But I feel a difference. When being aware of thoughts, I have less and less chance of getting lost in my breaths. But when I'm being aware of my thoughts, uh, it's very easy. I see what you're saying. Once I'm lost, I have to realize that I got lost and I have to bring awareness back again. Yeah, but even if you really have a good, solid recognition of the nature of your mind, then do what you got to do to familiarize. But oh, this is acting funny here. But really start to believe it or not, if you leave awareness alone, if you leave the thoughts alone, like when you're sitting here and you're in rumination and you notice it, there's nothing to be done about that. Noticing is enough. Yeah. Just seeing, just awareness is enough. Are awareness and thoughts two sides of the same coin? When I look at more deeply, awareness and phenomena don't seem to be separate. Well, yeah, they're not separate, but thoughts are appearing within a field of cognizance, you see? So they're not separate in terms of thoughts, but in terms of leverage, I guess you could say, for lack of better words. But, you know, this field of cognizance that I'm calling awareness is supreme. Thoughts are very, very secondary, sort of, to that. So, not on the same coin, not even in the same country's currency. Really, we got to understand this. I can't believe people are getting away with it. Longchenpa says the total opposite of liberation is conceptualization. So why do we do it so much? Why does everybody, for example, on Reddit insist that we got to get this conceptual understanding correct? It's very, very important. I'm starting to think it's one of the least important things. It's more important to trust, in your recognition, familiarize with it, and your conceptualization doesn't really matter, really. Yeah, you guys are spending way too much effort trying to get a conceptual idea of Dzogchen rather than recognizing awareness, just naked, alone awareness. It's that simple. Like my dog, if he could stop being distracted for a moment, can recognize awareness. There's no conceptualizing involved. If I was like, hey, little bear, awareness, your mind, here, little bear would be like this. Oh, okay. And go back to doing his thing. But from that recognition, he has shifted positions. He's come out of his thinking mind. That's the great awakening. Yeah, even Dzogchen Ponlop Rinpoche was talking about that, the same point. So we got to be able to get down to our dog mind. I'm a traditional sort of a typical overanalyzer, so I'm just talking about myself. I'm not talking about any of you specifically. Please don't take anything personally, okay? I'm just more or less speaking from what all these teachers are saying, that, and then trying to give you guys hints to really get around that. Keep it like a dog. If a dog can't understand it, then yeah, that's it. And maybe post the Dig Naga quotes and the Longchenpa quotes from page 108 of The Precious Treasury of the Basic Space of Phenomena. It's beyond all this good and bad, the labeling and assigning meaning to what boils down to energy, possibly vibrating frequencies, and that's about it. we're giving names and meaning to that. Just like when we create a dream at night, that dream would be nothing but a flash of light if we didn't assign meaning to everything and break it into colors. Dignaga explained, and then on the next page is the Longchenpa quote, by the way. Yeah, conceptualization is the ultimate non recognition of awareness. It causes one to fall into the ocean of samsara. Now think about that. Why do we give so much weight to this, really, to concept getting the concepts right? I think we really need to put them at the bottom of the totem pole where they belong. And then on page 108, they do not understand the key point. The concept, he's answering my question. I'm sitting here going, why? They do not understand the key point. The conceptualization is compounded confusion. One problem with our human mind is that we like complexity. We're addicted to it. Yeah. So Suraj asking, by the way, I'm one question. Yep. I'm trying to recognize awareness throughout the day at different times. That's familiarization, right? Yes. Am I able to recognize my progress? Yeah, you're in the second stage. As long as you keep familiarizing in your own ways that you're comfortable with, then you're doing great right now. Yeah, keep on going. Don't change anything. You're doing really good. I can feel it. Right. Yeah, and I don't mean to be too cold with you guys or anything, okay? I'm just trying to be straightforward and not waste anybody's time or energy. But will I be able to understand my progress in that? There's no more progress. Progress for there to be progress, you would have to imputate time in a timeless environment. You would have to create a conditioned self to operate in this construct of time. There would be a you that you're reifying. Oh, I'm progressing on this path. And as you keep saying, I'm progressing, well, you're still reifying duality in a non dual environment. You're still creating time in a timeless environment. You see? These concepts do you no good. Just continue to familiarize with awareness. That's the only part of stage one and two. And in fact, yes, you asked some great questions the last session. That's the only part where you really need formal sitting as well. Although for effortless abiding, it feels great to sit here and effortless abide. So I imagine whether you're on stage three or stage four, you still love to sit. I imagine that when you're a Buddha, you love to just sit in peace. Why not? So beautiful. Yeah, good. Is it possible to lose effortlessness abiding once reached? Oh, that's an interesting question. Well, I guess I could only give you my experience. I was sort of still caught up in little efforts, and then I realized the futility of those efforts. And I think once you see the futility of your efforts, it's almost like you're drinking sand and thinking it's water. So why would you ever revert back at that point? I don't think you can. Well, yeah, I imagine if you get extremely pulled into another path, that could be an option. But really, if you get as far as true effortlessness, there's really no way out of that. You've entered a stream of nirvana at that point. in a very deep, profound way. They actually say that even hearing the Kuntazampo aspiration, even just hearing it, gets you out of samsara. So recognizing the nature of mind, surely, if you haven't reached a point of no return, you're almost there. But my guess would be that you have. Uh, Everybody in this room has probably reached that point of no return. So that's why you might as well just embrace it, right? I don't know. It's a pretty good steak. Somebody typing. Everybody good. How did you know? I don't know anything. Don't you accuse me of knowing something. The sweet type. Okay. Well, any other comments, questions today? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I hope I'm not coming across too sluggish here. I really don't mind. I love this. To me, I'm resting right now, you know. It's you guys that have to deal with it. I don't know why the dogs were so crazy today. It's like they were all on the same page. I'm pretty sure it's the full moon. It seems to always happen. And it's all bright outside. Jetson knows what I'm talking about. It's probably very bright for him too. It's like daylight outside. Well, not daylight, but moonlight. Okay. She's sleeping. I should have woke her up. Come on. Was that the common suggestion? Was Siraj? Yes, it was. Why did you wake me up, Siraj? Why? Because you wanted to see the kitty? Oh, and your view. Okay. Yeah, right now my phone is propped up because it's charging. I'm just happy that I have video and audio because it's got a cracked screen. Yeah. So we're all lucky. But when it's fully charged and I know it's charged, then I'll have it lower and I'll make sure that the kitty is in the frame, okay? That was a great comment slash suggestion. All right. On that note, I think we can do a dedication of merit. So, through the silent sit and the gathering of all these great yogis, plus the reading of this text and the Dharma talk, whatever benefit we have, whatever merit, we dedicate that to all sentient beings that are in need. Gewa Mage Rodo Kunlano. Gewa Mage Rodo Kunlano. Gewa Magin Dodo Kunla. Okay, I hope to see you all again for some more of this discussion about this. Really, I'm coming with a new approach that came from the group. We got some exciting stuff going on, so thank you for being a part of this. Yeah, and then there's a Discord. I still wanted to get yeah, deep bow, and I still wanted to get in on the Discord. I think some of those tools will be a little bit more active too, perhaps in the near future. Yeah, we'll see. So please don't get discouraged, anybody, about stuff like that. We have such a beautiful thing going right now, and very, very powerful. And each of you is an absolute Buddha. Don't forget it. Okay, bye.